Saudi Arabia just partnered with Elon Musk's xAI to build a massive AI hub, one of the biggest on Earth, while expanding its influence inside the United States. All of this from a nation where Christianity is still illegal. Is this just a power move or part of the global system Revelation warned us about? Today on the Endtime Show, we break down Saudi Arabia's power grab, what it means for America, and the prophetic implications behind it. Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us today. Don't forget, we need your help. Make sure you share this video right now. Be sure to be engaging in the chat. We want to know what you think about Saudi Arabia in the White House this week, and whether or not that was a power grab or what's going on with that whole situation. So let us know in the chat, and then of course give us a heart or a thumbs up. It goes a long way breaking through their algorithms, getting to your friends and family. Before we get into what specifically is taking place in Saudi Arabia and how it relates to Bible prophecy, we want to bring our friend Samuel O'Brien from True Gold Republic back on to help us understand what's going on in the financial realm right now. Samuel, welcome back to the Endtime Show.
Thank you for having me. Great to see you again, guys.
Likewise, always a pleasure. When you look back at 2025 as a whole, the markets, inflation, interest rates, what's the real story? Did we actually grow, or did it just look good on paper?
I think it just looked good on paper. I think it just came from a cumulative more printing that we had before. The markets obviously keep going up and up and up, but I think that the end of the year has been particularly alarming. You looked at all that AI bubble that's happened. Nvidia had that call yesterday where it looked pretty good initially, but then you see the markets come back down again today. So there was a lot of talk about that AI tech bubble that's kind of been popping or is looking like it's going to pop, and there's a lot of pressure going on around that. In relation to gold and silver, since we last spoke, both metals have done pretty well. Both were up about about a couple of percent since we last spoke. But year to date, currently, I mean, gold started the year on $2,600. Today, it's at 4,000. So that's a gain of 55% that it's gone up since the start of the year. And silver started the year on $28. Currently, it's up to 48, nearly $50. So that's 78% year to date. So for the investors that have come with True Gold Republic this year, it's been amazing returns, record returns. It's been hugely exciting. And I think next year is going to be an interesting year for sure.
No doubt. And of course, we've been telling everybody go to endtimegold.com to learn more how they can connect with True Gold Republic. Now, for regular Americans, this market situation, I shouldn't say regular Americans, I should say there's a lot of Americans who feel squeezed by this market. Yeah. They still feel squeezed by the markets, even though gold, silver, and the markets have hit these new highs. Why is there such a big disconnect between what Wall Street celebrates and what people feel at home?
Well, I think that is kind of what we touched on last time, is that people that have owned some of these big stocks that have gone up 30, 40% this year, they're still spending money because of all the gains that they've made in their stock portfolios, right? But the everyday American that may not be investing into the markets that heavily, these are the people that are, they're going to stop spending money. They've already stopped spending money, and it's only when the people that are invested in these assets, like the Googles, the Metas, stuff like that, if these start coming down and they stop spending money, I think that's when we have a true problem. But yeah, people that were invested and they have large stock portfolios and they've made 20, 30, 40% gains in the last year, they're going to be happy. And I think that's the disconnect, right? Is that the people that own all these companies, own shares in these companies, have profited and they're not really feeling that. But the people that don't, obviously the cost of goods are still going up, things are still getting higher, and they're not making any money. So that's probably the disconnect that most people, everyday Americans, feel. For sure.
Yeah, and the financial system is so much more global now than it used to be. And of course, we just saw in Japan where they had this major sell-off and a bond market mess that scared a lot of analysis. Can you help us understand what actually happened there and why the rest of the world should care?
Yeah, so Japan's government bond market, there is huge alarm bells ringing, and in simpler terms, it's effectively their bond market has been somewhere between zero and negative for almost the last 10 years. So it's really like someone handing you a credit card with 0% interest rate, and you can just keep spending and spending and spending, and the balance on that card is obviously going to keep going up and up and up because you're never going to feel the true cost of that debt. And what's happened more recently is that interest rate has now started kicking in. So this huge debt that they had occurred, which now relates to 260% of their GDP. The GDP is effectively the gross domestic profit of that country, so it's how much revenue they're bringing in and then how much debt they have, and then that draws together a ratio. And a healthy ratio or an ideal ratio is meant to be below 80%. The US is currently at 125%, the UK is at 102%, the Saudis, who you just mentioned, they're at 26%. So these are, over 80 is not ideal, but it's not terrible. But 260% is where they're in a position now where they're way overstretched. They're way overstretched. So yeah, it's scary times.
Did what we see in Japan, is that a preview of what we could see happen here in the United States if we keep spinning the way that we're spending?
There could be, but I think that the Japan market alone could have huge consequences on the American market as well, because they are I think they're the third largest buyer of US Treasuries. So they are effectively, Japan is one of America's first largest bankers. So if the Japan bond market breaks and they sell the US Treasuries to save themselves, then that's not going to be good for us. That could push US interest rates even higher. Higher interest rates normally crush housing, stocks, businesses, Washington's budgets and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, if Japan's bond market blows up, it's not just going to stay in Tokyo. It's going to show up in your mortgage rate, your 401k, and the value of your dollar. So yeah, it's just really showing the world economic system becoming more fragile, interconnected, and vulnerable to a single shock.
And of course, that makes me think about central bank digital currencies popping up around the world. We need to shift to this, is what some are going to say. So CBDCs are the future. Who's actually moving forward with CBDCs right now, and how close are we to seeing that here in the United States?
The United States is still a little bit slower, but the digital euro is moving ahead slowly and methodically. The European Central Bank has finished its initial preparation phase, and they're doing some technical work and stuff like that. So if law passes in 2026, then the digital euro could show up as soon as 2029. Singapore just did a live trial of wholesale CBDC for interbank lending. And they're also working with the UK, Thailand, and Germany on cross-border CBDC and tokenized settlement projects. And we spoke about this last time on the stable coins. The Bank of England just launched a consultation on how to regulate systemic sterling stable coins, the ones big enough to matter for everyday payments. So CBDCs in the US are sort of crawling, I would say, but regulated stable coins, they're going to be around the corner. I think that's going to be very, very quick.
All right, and then with CBDCs, some say that it would give governments the power to track and even block what people buy. Do you see CBDCs as real innovation, or is this basically financial surveillance dressed up as modernizing money?
I think it's a bit of both. I think that, if we have something, tying that back to what's happening in Japan, if there is one huge problem that we have globally, then we're going to need some sort of globalization control on finances, and that's where CBDCs and stable coins can perfectly fit into that, to control spending, turn it on, turn it off. In theory, if they didn't do that, then the whole system would blow up. So it could be, it seems like it's inevitable, and it could be, almost necessity to have that implemented to stop global collapse of currencies. So yeah, I think a bit of both.
We've long said that that systems like these they'll use fear tactics to get us to buy into that. And your remarks there made me think that's kind of like, I know you may not want to talk about COVID vaccines, maybe you do, but back when that was happening, you needed to get this or you were going to kill your grandma. And so, things like that were being said to get you to engage, and they scared a lot of people. And so do you foresee that happening with digital currency, that they will scare people into engaging with that?
100%. Yeah, and it could be a way of them saying, well, if you don't convert to CBDCs, then you'll have no money, right? You'll have nothing to spend. Obviously, people that own gold and silver will have real money where they could trade and barter with, but it will be exactly the same. You can't travel without your vaccine COVID passport showing that you're jabbed, or something like that. It will be exactly the same, and they may put limits on you as to like whether you can travel, how you can spend this money. So I think there could be a huge divide with people that go with the system and people that go away from the system. And people that go away from the system may have to, be a bit more off grid on their transactions. But yeah, we'll be bullied into it happening. It will become mandated and it will become law.
Will there ever be in your eyes, will there ever be a one system that controls all the currency in the world? Like when we see the mark of the beast, that's the way it kind of reads in the Bible. The technology would go to like this global empire, this one world government having control over all the currency in the world. Could you see that happening? And if so, who do you think would be in a position right now where they could become that power?
It seems like the logical answer to that would be the United States of America. I don't see any other country that could have the ability to take that over, and that's just because the US is the world reserve currency. Mm-hmm. The US have the strongest military in the world, the most nuclear weapons. So like we've always weaponized the US dollar, if there was going to be one central banking system, then I think it would make logical sense for that to be US backed. We don't know what happens as much inside of China, but I think China, could have the potential to do that as well, because they're buying, a lot of gold, and they perhaps are the second in the running. But I would say between America and China would be battling it out to take that global status, that global controlled system.
It's interesting. All right.
So looking toward 2026, Samuel, with everything happening globally, including Saudi Arabia shaking up the energy markets and moving closer to other world powers, where do you see gold and silver heading? Are we still early in this run, or should people expect a slowdown?
Nothing goes up in a straight line. That would be impossible. But Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan are both forecasting next year for gold to be over $5,000. So that's still, we're at $4,000 today. So there's still plenty of growth there just in the next 12 months. But bearing in mind, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan forecasted gold this year to be around $3,000. We're at $4,000. So you can read into that what you want. Personally, I feel like if we did have a recession, which a lot of people are projecting to happen, probably Q1, Q2 of next year, then we know just from historical analysis that gold normally catapults in that environment, and you could see $6,000, $7,000 gold. I simply wouldn't be surprised. And the same happens with silver. It does just seem like the writing's on the wall. We haven't had a huge recession yet. There might be some pullbacks in gold from 4,000 to 3,700, 3,800, but I think we found a lot of support where we're at. So yeah, heading on to next year, $5,000 is probably a conservative benchmark for us to hit. But personally, I feel like things could go a heck of a lot higher than that.
Yeah. Could you help our audience understand, whether they be retirement age or in their 20s, why should they go to endtimegold.com today and start the process with True Republic Gold?
Well, first and foremost, if you don't own any gold, then you need to own some gold and silver. And that's just the case of having some control over your finances. We don't encourage anyone to invest into gold and silver to make some money. Obviously, if we do make money on it, then that's amazing. But really, it's just about safeguarding your wealth and protecting what you've got. If we see a recession and you are nearing retirement age, the last recession, it would have taken you 4 or 5 years just to recover from the losses that you would have likely seen in your portfolios. With gold and silver, as a hedge in that environment, you would have fared out a lot better. So True Gold Republic, we're here to take care of you. We don't have any crazy minimums or anything like that. So if you want to get a cash purchase of gold and silver delivered directly to your door, then we can help you with that. Or if you want to safeguard some of your retirement accounts, then we can do that for you. We have some great incentives at the moment where we can cover some of the fees on your accounts and things like that. So yeah, just head to the URL and speak to one of our guys. And we're also working on a collab with Endtime to put together some more literature in a book form, so people can read that as well and get a bit more educated on that. And that should be ready in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, and you're also working with Doug directly on last time you sold him on transferring one of his accounts. He's all in on it.
Yes, I am. I just got to get my paperwork together.
So, Samuel, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. We'll speak to you soon.
All right,
God
bless.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too, guys.
Okay, bye.
All right, as Samuel mentioned, True Gold Republic makes it simple to own physical gold and silver at the lowest price anywhere. They guarantee it, or they'll beat it, with free insured shipping right to your door. You can even roll over an IRA or 401k into gold with no minimum. So take a serious look today at endtimegold.com. That's endtimegold.com. All right, Doug, we were talking about Saudi Arabia in the opener, and Samuel mentioned it some in a conversation about where the finances are around the world right now. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we just saw where the Prince of Saudi Arabia was at the White House and being celebrated very similar to the leader of Qatar just, it seems like a week or two ago.
Leader of Syria.
That's right, Syria, sorry.
Yeah. You're stuck on Qatar.
I'm stuck on Qatar, and they probably celebrated him too. But
they probably did.
Specifically
but yes,
Syria.
Syria when that guy came in.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
what's going on? Why does this keep happening?
Well, I mean, so for one thing, we thought when the Crown Prince came in that really they were going to talk more about the Abraham Accords and about the possibility of Saudi Arabia signing on with that. Because remember, Saudi Arabia, they were very close to doing this before October 7th, 2023 happened when the Palestinians and Hamas attacked Israel, and that kind of changed the course of things there. And then, of course, with the outcry for the Free Palestine and everything that's been going on since then, Saudi Arabia has been very hesitant, I guess is a good word to say, about joining the Abraham Accords. So we thought when he came in, this is what they're going to be talking about. Trump's going to have a deal. Looks like Trump was expecting maybe to have a deal, and they kind of left that on the floor. It didn't happen. And a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now, when you're reading about it, some of the people are reporting that the reason why it didn't happen is Saudi Arabia definitely wants a clear path to a Palestinian state. And just at this point right now, there doesn't seem to be a clear path. It's in the working. Hopefully, they say it's in that working is what they're saying, but we don't see it yet. They're enough to get Saudi Arabia to come on. Remember, that was Syria's thing, was they wanted Israel out of the Golan Heights, and that's why they said they could never sign on with it. So that was what we were expecting to happen, was that this Saudi Arabia deal would be part of that peace initiative there in Gaza, which is really a big deal. Let's not forget about that, because that's really a huge deal. But something else happened, and that's what's really interesting. The power grab that you talked about in that tease when you were bringing us on today, that's what is interesting, and I wanted everybody to kind of understand what that means and the power that Saudi Arabia is going to have. On top of, they're getting some really nice F-35 jets. So Israel's not real happy about that.
No, and I'm not real happy to think about the data center that's going in Saudi Arabia and what all that could mean. Obviously, I don't know. I think about what's happening with AI and how it's incorporated into literally anything that you use. Obviously, you don't have to go to Grok or ChatGPT or whichever AI bot you use.
Right.
If you use one, literally using your phone to remind you to do something is AI.
Right.
Even searching on search engines, they now have
Copilot,
AI, whatever.
Yeah.
And so AI is incorporated into anything you do with technology, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah. I think even with our cars nowadays, there's a lot of AI going on that we don't know about. I mean, our car that we just recently had to get, it tells you updates. It gives me updates on my phone, and then it tells me updates on my dash.
If you're getting updates on your phone, 100% AI.
And so, I mean,
if your car has digital,
yeah,
AI was used in some way and is probably actively being used.
I mean, if you don't lock the doors on this car, it says the car has detected that many doors are unlocked. You need to lock your doors. So, yeah, there's a lot of AI technology out there. So, yes, it's everywhere. You're right. Yeah.
So, but then when I think about this massive data center being put in Saudi Arabia with Saudi Arabia involved, I just wonder what that could mean. What type of data are they going to have access to? What type of influence are they going to have into the data that you and I are getting, or anyone around the world is getting? How much can they influence that? So I think I have valid concerns.
Yeah, and you remember, Vince, I don't know, it was sometime back in the spring when we talked about this, the city that Saudi Arabia was talking about building out in the middle of the desert, that was like a self-contained 15-minute city that was like, I can't remember, 100 miles long or something like that. And they showed some animation of a train dropping a child off at their home and stuff from school and all that, that it would all be connected in a hub. Well, now you're talking about a power structure there where they're going to have data centers and things there that could drive those kind of things in that region. Plus, they talk about in this article that part of the wealth that they're going to build out of this isn't just coming from oil anymore, and they're really excited about that, but it's also coming from real estate because of this this technological advancement that they're going to be able to do in their country, and all these people are jumping on board. Trump even yesterday in a speech talked to I guess the owner of Blackwell, that's going to be the company that's joining with this AI venture, and told that guy, you should be very happy. He even made a joke about, oh, you didn't get very good seats for this. You know, you should be up here with everything that you're doing right now. So it was kind of a situation that happened yesterday. I don't think that we really saw what was really going on until today when we get this. So.
Well, Doug, hearing all this just makes me ask you the question one more time. Can we switch to pre-trib?
Sure.
No, we can't, Doug.
Let's just do it.
We can't switch. It would be nice
to tell everybody, let's get zapped out of here before all this bad stuff happens.
I mean, that seems like a really nice thing. It would be nice if we could do that. But what do you think? Should we switch to no?
No.
I know where most. I guess I don't know where everyone stands on that, but a lot of people say that the rapture could happen tonight.
Yeah.
And like I'm telling Doug right now, it'd be nice if we could say, man, we don't have to experience any of this. We're just going to be pre-trib. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but when we look at what Jesus actually said about that, we can't repeat that. And we just wrapped up one of the most important end time originals we've ever done. The rapture is not next with Dave Robbins, and it's going to turn everything you thought you knew upside down in the best possible way. Of course, one of my favorite parts of this end time original is Dave is standing in front of this massive LED screen behind us with a huge timeline of the end time, the final 7 years, and he walks through that timeline and shows you what's going to happen between roughly now, when the final 7 years begins, and all the way until Jesus returns. It's an incredible resource. It's going to ship in December, the DVD is, and if you pre-order right now at endtime.com/next, you'll also get 20 exclusive teaching materials that are not available anywhere else yet. So you're going to get 10 copies of 26 Reasons the Rapture Happens After the Tribulation, 10 copies of What Happens Next, and it's going to have that end time timeline in there, in that material there. So this is perfect for your family, your church, or the people you've been trying to wake up. So go to endtime.com/next or call 800-END-TIME right now and lock in your The Rapture's Not Next pre-order bundle before they're gone. That's endtime.com/next or 800-363-8463. Like I mentioned, Dave teaches in front of that timeline, and what you'll get as part of that bundle is a physical copy of the very timeline he's teaching from. So you want this in your library, in your resources to reach others with. It's perfect for passing out at church or in your Connect group or on an outreach table, anything like that. Endtime.com/next, the perfect place to go for that. Doug?
Yes?
What do you think about this, the AI thing being, the database being in Saudi Arabia? Do you love that, or does it matter to you? Or
I don't love AI big data centers that are going to collect all this data and everything like that. We've talked about data centers here in our Metroplex that they're building all over the place, that they're connecting to these 15-minute type cities in these apartment complexes all over our area, especially right here off of, we're off George Bush Freeway here in Plano, and just from here to Interstate 30, if anybody's familiar with the area, which is probably, what do you think, like 15 miles from here to there, maybe?
I don't know. I do an 8-mile thing.
There you go.
I'm rarely outside of my 8-mile
triangle. Yeah, you better
here.
Keep it that way too, if you know what's good for you.
I live in kind of a 15-minute city of my own.
Yeah, you do. But I mean, they're popping up everywhere, and so it is something that's moving. And there are brand new ones. My kids live right down the road from here in one of those 15-minute type apartment complexes, and there are more popping up. I just saw today where Plano just passed this huge agreement to open up a big plot of land to put these type of apartments there that are going to have all the things you need, including an 8-mile jogging trail that's going to be around the complex and everything. It's a 15-minute city is what it is, and data centers are linking up to those. And so not a fan of any of that. But when we come back, we'll really get into it and show people what's happening there.
Yeah, are they building a data center near you? Let us know in the chat where you're at, and if there's a data center being built near you. There's massive buildings and a whole lot of radiation being installed there, Doug. We'll have to get in that on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
One of the most frequently asked questions we receive at End Time Ministries is, why do you guys teach the rapture happens after the Great Tribulation? Should we be passively waiting to be taken at any moment or actively preparing for the greatest revival in history? Paul states plainly it will not occur until after the man of sin, the Antichrist, is revealed, and that will not happen until God declares it is time. I will walk you through a timeline of the final 7 years. The rapture, the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the second coming of Jesus Christ is one continuous event. It's not an event separated by 7 years.
Now available for pre-order at endtime.com. Go to endtime.com/next or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
What if you could understand Bible prophecy? Dave Robbins, the host of the End Time Show's TV and radio programs, is holding a free prophecy conference near you. Gain peace and understanding about what the Bible says concerning end-time prophecy. Call 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com/events to see when Dave will be in a location near you.
Welcome back to the End Time Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us today. We're talking about Saudi Arabia's power move that's occurred. You've seen clips of the Crown Prince there in the White House this week. And so we're talking about what they're up to, what's happening, and how this connects to Bible prophecy. Doug, where do we start on reporting on these stories?
Well, one of the things, Vince, that is interesting to me, because remember at the first of the administration, like going into January and all that, and even at the Republican convention and everything, Elon Musk was very much a part of that. And it seemed like everywhere Trump was, there was Elon Musk. It was kind of a different feel of things that were going on. Then they kind of had the split, and they went their separate ways. They kind of had disagreements about things, or maybe they didn't, depending on who listens to what. This was all part of the big scheme, maybe. But anyway,
7D chest.
I'm sorry.
7D chess.
Are we at 7D now?
Must be.
It must be. But he brings Elon back into this, and Elon Musk AI company XAI is going to build this first huge computing hub outside the United States, partnering with Saudi Arabia there, and the sovereign wealth fund tech arm Humane. I think it's cool that it's called Humane, or maybe not cool, but kind of I guess a play on words there, that it's called Humane when it may not be very humane by the time this is over with. The project includes a massive 500 megawatt AI data center powered by 18,000 NVIDIA Blackwell GB300 chips. Don't know what any of that means, but it's very important because it's bolded in my notes. Plus a national network of AI computer. I bet you Craig could tell us exactly what that means. An AI computer site and a rollout of XAI's Grok AI models across the entire country. Humane will also integrate Grok into its own AI platform and call it Humane One. So government agencies and private companies, get this, can use advanced AI tools and co-pilot systems. Okay, I see co-pilot all the time, because I don't know that much about it. I just know that if you do a search right now, you'll see co-pilot pop up, and it gives you little bubble notes, and you can click on that, and it gives you all this information.
Doug, you're revealing that which search engine you use.
Oh, is that? I mean, does it matter?
It does to some people.
I'm sorry. Am I using the communist network winner? Or what?
Yeah, you're definitely.
I'm sorry.
Cooperating with the Antichrist.
You know what? I'm lucky that I know how to turn this thing on, folks. So
Copilot is specifically from what Google uses when you do a search. So they're trying to compete with ChatGPT and Grok and them, and so when you search something, they're trying to give you the answers there. Okay. So you don't go to ChatGPT.
Well, I still go to ChatGPT, just so you know. But anyway, so Copilot is a system that they're going to use too. This move is part of Saudi Arabia's broader plan to become one with the world's biggest and cheapest AI compute hubs, capitalizing on the land availability. Remember, we talked about that earlier, that they have a lot of land and they're going to be able to build these large hubs, low energy cost and deep capital. They attract global tech companies and become an exporter of the AI infrastructure. Now, I thought that Trump was at the United Arab Emirates when they unveiled that big AI city. Remember when they showed that platform? Wasn't he in the UAE then, or was he in Saudi when they did that?
I don't recall.
You remember the video I'm talking about, though, where they were in that big room and they uncovered this big giant city and it was like all AI driven and all that?
Yes, I don't remember where they were.
Okay. Looked like something out of Blade Runner or something. It was really crazy stuff, sci-fi stuff.
Okay.
All right.
I'll take your word for it.
Anyway, I know you don't know what that is. So the question is, where can this go prophetically, and how does this tie into things that we talk about on a daily basis? And that's kind of where I wanted to go from here, Vince, because you know more about technology than I do. Most of what I learn from technology, I learn from you and some of our IT people here that come in my office and tell me things and research all this stuff. So you probably could tell our listeners more about how you feel like it will tie into prophetic scripture in the Bible. But I mean, I think everybody knows where I would go with it, but do you have anything to add to that?
What AI, generally speaking, because the AI is so broad. I mean, I know
something that this large of a deal with somebody like Saudi Arabia. That was kind of why I asked my question, Samuel, a while ago, is who could really control all that currency? And he said China or the United States, which is interesting because we don't think it's going to be either one of those. Yeah.
So the way I see this and the concerns I have about it is when they're building such a massive data center that's powered, or maybe not powered by AI, but has so many AI components to it, I think about the mark of the beast and the tracking that will occur, and how our data is going to be stored, and like we talked about, and like we've talked about for a long time, but specifically earlier, how people can turn on and off your ability to purchase something,
to function,
or you know, if you try to go book an airline ticket and you aren't allowed to do that anymore. Just like what happened to me, I think it was earlier this year when I log into Facebook and it says your account has been locked.
Right.
Well, now I can't access Facebook, which is really a good thing, honestly. But also, they controlled my access to that.
Right.
Well, if we move into this, like we know we're going to, what we see coming with Bible prophecy, that is going to happen just like in China with the
social credit score.
Yeah. So when I see this, it's just kind of confirmation for all that.
Right.
And I don't know what else. I mean, AI is so integrated in all of our lives, like I said earlier, even if we realize it or not. So it's part of where we're headed. It's part of what the end time world's going to be like.
Yeah.
It's part of what's going to control that warfare technology for the Sixth Trumpet War. AI will be used in the Sixth Trumpet War.
Yeah.
So this is just one step closer to what we've been talking about.
Yeah, and I agree totally with that. And the thing about it, when I think about AI, because I had a conversation with one of our listeners over an email about their pastor was teaching from the book of Revelation, and their teacher or their pastor teaches that AI will be the mark of the beast, that it will be an AI system that rolls out the mark of the beast. It will be an AI system that causes you to worship it. So their pastor believes that. Now, I don't believe that it's going to totally be AI, but I think AI is going to be used for it because I think it's a control mechanism. I think it's just moving us into more control, and especially once they do go to a digital currency. That's why one reason why we have people on here that talk to us about gold and silver and things like that, because actually being able to have a physical gold and silver that may help you in times if you're trying to stay off of that one world currency direction that the world will go into. It would be good to have gold and silver physically that you can barter with and things like that. So that's why we mention it. As Christians, we know that the Lord told us that we don't have to worry about things that we're going to eat, drink, or wear, because we just need to be worried about the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all those things are going to be added to us. We get all that, and we understand that as Christians and what we teach. But we also know that, God showed Joseph that there was going to be, 7 years of famine, that they had to have the 7 years of surplus to build up for that 7 years of famine. And so, maybe the Lord's given us time to build up things also. It's just kind of how you feel. You just go with what you believe and how you feel in your heart. You need to prepare for things. But, I saw something today as I was looking into this about Saudi Arabia doing this. As a matter of fact, you sent me some really good stuff that will get us in trouble with some listeners, because people don't like it when we talk about President Trump in a way that might portray a bad choice that he's making or something. But, Israel...
Is this time we give our disclaimer where we like Trump?
Some
people are going to be like, we know that already. You guys talk about Trump all the time.
People are going to say, well,
they
Doug
tell us
would
you talk
think
about
Trump
more
did
than
no
Jesus.
wrong.
You serve Trump.
Right.
He's your savior.
Yeah.
He's not our savior.
Right.
Jesus is our only source, of course.
Right.
But we still have to talk about the things that are happening. And
we do.
I don't like this particular thing that happened.
No, and I don't either. And Vince, to be honest with you, look at the 20-point plan in Gaza that we talked about last week, and we gave 6 points about that. Dave had an interview. Well, I guess that was this week we talked about that. Dave had the interview with Netanyahu's secretary of
social media director. I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I knew I'd get that
it's
wrong.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yesterday. What a great interview that was. And they talked about some possibilities that could happen there. But with all this, you see these Islamic powers getting more powerful with things like this that we're making deals with. And a lot of people are like, why are we making deals with these countries that persecute Christians and that are against Christianity? And so that's a question that's being risen up. But also Israel is questioning some of these things, because they're asking, why is Trump selling Saudi Arabia F-35s? Israel's upset with that because they're like, you're selling them the same technology we have. Now we don't have that edge that we had before. Well, one of the things about this 20-point plan is Trump is trying to set up a NATO-type situation in the Middle East, where you have all these countries that have signed on to the agreement with Israel to have normalization, that they're going to build a type of military that would be like a NATO situation and try to have Israel part of that military stance, so that they would be able to defend themselves. But it's got people that are questioning, and they're concerned about it because they don't really understand where this is going. So it's kind of like one of those things with Saudi Arabia and what they're being able to do here. But a major Middle Eastern power positioning itself to have this kind of emerging global digital power, that should be alarming to us, because they will be able to track things with people in this country. Maybe even, Vince, I don't know, because I don't know enough about AI. I'm not educated enough in all that stuff to understand how it works. But it feels like if you're giving somebody power like this, and they're going to be able to understand things in a more complex way, what's to keep them from being able to get F-35s, applying AI to it, and making something that's more superior than anybody's got in the world? You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things that concerns me too. But then when you talk about how the Antichrist is going to rise up and take control of a system like this, even though we know Saudi Arabia is not going to be the kingdom of the Antichrist. It's going to be a one world system that's going to come together, and he's going to rise up out of that. And we know the lion, the leopard, and the bear are all part of that system. But there's going to be other Islamic countries that are part of that as well. So how is all that going to come together is kind of the question. And you see these powers being given in different areas, and you know that's going to have to tie in somewhere prophetically down the road.
And Doug, this is one reason why we talk about end time prophecy and how these things that we see in the Bible weren't possible until now.
Right.
Actually, we had a team Thanksgiving lunch today together, and everyone had smartphones.
Yeah.
Like literally, we had a long table, and I saw smartphones sitting down on the table. No one was on them, but they were just there. And I'm going, look at all those smartphones. And what we used to do before smartphones, well, we had, of course, dial-up. AOL just this year, I think it was, or last year, stopped providing their dial-up services. We had these technologies that weren't great.
Do you even remember that dial-up?
Of course
emails,
I do.
Or dial-up internet?
I had one.
Really?
I'm not even going to tell what my username was on air. It was so stupid. But
I just would never forget that sound.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, so before all that, we had landlines, and before that we didn't have phones at all, and you would have to actually talk to people, or if you wanted to see someone, you didn't FaceTime them.
Mm-mm.
You went over to their house.
Yeah.
And you would actually be together. Well, what AI has done more than ever before is it's created this infrastructure where we can be more, quote unquote, connected.
Yeah.
So whether it be FaceTiming with someone on the other side of the world, when Dave and Janet were just there, I'm sure they FaceTimed their grandkids a few times and got to talk to their grandbabies face to face, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it's very convenient and wonderful in a lot of ways. But also with our finances, you can send money internationally and it get there instantly, or really quickly rather. So the financial system is all connected, and so then all these other systems will be more closely connected. And by the way, you were bragging on how smart I am with AI and technology and stuff, which is I'm not, but I'm maybe above average or whatever. But
more than
I got it wrong.
For sure.
By the way, I told you that Copilot was Google, and that's not true. Copilot's Microsoft. I had it messed up, but
well, I wouldn't know the difference. So,
well, it's
I'm
Microsoft,
sure
and Google is Gemini. But you're seeing Copilot probably because you have Office and Word.
I got the
and
stuff,
I don't know where you're seeing Copilot ultimately, but
I see it somewhere.
I was wrong. Hopefully, that's the worst thing I'm wrong about on the show today.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all make mistakes for sure, and it's okay to be wrong sometimes. It's
Hey,
so,
Doug, we're at the 45-minute mark, and there was not a commercial.
Hey,
isn't that nice?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Usually, I'm saying this is the time to share again.
Yeah.
Well, just so everyone's aware, this show is live on television and live on the radio all around the United States. And, of course, we stream online. And because of that, we have some breaks that we have to hit. There was a time when there was a break at the 8-minute mark, and then the 28:30, and then the 42:30, or whatever the numbers are. That dwindled down, and actually this morning I was reminded that we didn't have to have this second break, and so there's no break now. We eliminated the 28:30 is still required.
Happy.
Yeah, so we're not going to get interrupted, but still, I should say, it's a great time to make sure that you share this video, help get the word out. Share right now, even if you already did before, and then also be sure you're engaging in the chat. We want to know if you like AI or not. That would be very interesting to hear. I know some people love it, some people hate it. Some people say they'd like to eliminate it entirely, but then they wouldn't be able to start their dishwasher from their phone, or whatever people are doing with AI these days.
Right.
When it becomes more practical and hits home, we all of a sudden like it. But nonetheless, let us know what you think in the chat, and be sure you're giving us a heart and a thumbs up. It goes a long way. And then don't forget, you need to be part of this pre-order bundle that's happening right now with The Rapture Is Not Next, to be able to hold that timeline in your hand and have it in a reasonable size is an absolutely incredible opportunity. The first time we've ever had anything like this available, and it's only available through the Rapture's Not Next pre-order bundle. So be sure you go to endtime.com/next, pre-order the Rapture's Not Next DVD and the 2 printed materials. You're going to get 20 copies total of those 2 printed materials. So it's kind of a wonderful opportunity to have content that will help you navigate the end times and help you communicate with others about where we are in the end time timeline. So Doug,
yes,
we got to talk about this rare foundation.
Yeah,
I think
this may get us in trouble.
The thing that's going to get us in trouble. We saved it for this late in the show,
yes,
just in case. If a shepherd's hook comes and pulls us out, it'll be almost over anyway.
Right.
Where do we start on this?
Well, I'm going to let you introduce the next because you sent it to me. But everybody needs to pay attention to the Rare Foundation if you haven't yet.
RAIR.
Yeah, because they cover a lot about what's going on with Islam and the infiltration to the United States. They uncover a lot of this. Hopefully one day maybe we can interview this lady that you sent me, her X post. I think we have a picture of the X post just to kind of let everybody see it if they are watching and they might want to see what we're talking about here. This was actually one of the most lengthy things you ever sent me. So it was very interesting, but it was about three different pages of information that she was laying out. We're going to talk about that now, but she is the founder and editor-in-chief of the Rare Foundation. Her name is Amy Meck. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, well, that's how I say it.
Okay. So we also want to, as we kind of break this down for you, because we know you can't read everything that's on the screen. We just want to show you what it looks like, and this is where we got this from. I'm going to break this down while we show the video. We're going to show you the video of the Prince of Saudi Arabia and his grand welcome as he came into the White House. They had a band and everything playing. You'll see the Marines ride by, I think, on a horse with their flag. There's a guy holding the flag of Saudi Arabia there.
Not just a guy, Doug.
Yeah, a U.S. soldier.
A U.S. soldier.
Yeah.
Carrying that flag, riding, and I'm going, is this normal? I don't remember seeing this before.
Mm-mm.
Maybe I'm just so far removed from the last time, and I don't remember a foreign leader coming in and getting the treatment that we've seen Saudi Arabia get,
right,
and even Syria. I don't know what to think about all this. It's really, really weird to me.
And you remember Trump, when he went over there, the welcoming he got, so he probably felt like he had to one-up this guy and do something really big. They got a band. They had the band out there, and if we had the sound on this, you'd hear all that. So I asked the guys to turn it down because that's all it was the sound of that. But this is what she had to say in the post that we showed. No amount of money can whitewash the truth about Saudi Arabia. While Americans roll out the red carpet and raise the Saudi flag in Washington this week, nothing's changed about what the kingdom is in 2025 and how it treats Christians. Saudi Arabia remains a nation where leaving Islam is illegal. Conversion to Christianity is punishable by death. Churches are banned. Secret home gatherings are raided. Bibles are confiscated, and believers worship in whispers to avoid arrest. This is the same regime ranked among the world's worst offenders for Christian persecution, yet its flag was proudly carried by our own military during a White House ceremony. And while America celebrated ceremonies, something far more serious happened. Saudi Arabia quietly planted a government-backed Invest Saudi office in Miami, Florida. It's the first in Florida and only the second in the United States, with no vote, no debate, no public consent. This gives the kingdom a permanent economic foothold inside our country, allowing it to buy American land, property, and influence across tech, AI, entertainment, logistics, and more, despite offering Americans zero reciprocal rights on its soil. America now grants Saudi Arabia more freedom to operate inside Florida than Christians have had in Saudi Arabia. This is one-sided partnership that borders on surrender. If Islamic regimes want access to our markets, our land, our institutions, they must give back the same rights to Christians, Jews, and all non-Muslims that they demand here. Until then, no nation that bans our faith or our jails or our people have business to buy pieces of America. So that's what she had to say in that post. Now, this comes at a time, Vince, when, and we're going to probably do a story on this, maybe a whole show on this Islamic takeover of the U.S. and some of the things that are happening. I know people have seen the videos of the protests that are going on in Dearborn, Michigan, where these people are peacefully protesting, but they're being punched in the face. They're being attacked by radical Islamists. They're being physically attacked because they're protesting. Remember, one Christian protested inside a city council meeting there in Dearborn and was told that all Christians needed to just leave Dearborn, Michigan. They just need to get out of their city by their mayor, who is an Islamic person, so a Muslim person. So we're watching this happen, and we saw a map the other day, Vince, where 48 different mosques have been set up within the DFW area within the last 2 years. So we're seeing this influx. We have one of the largest communities of Muslims in our city right here in Plano and bordering Richardson. And we're watching this build up. And so we're going to address it and talk about it one day, because I think there's a lot there that we need to talk about. But we're watching this as if even the White House and our president is, feeding into this. And so it's just got me kind of scratching my head. I know that I'm going to get hate mail over it. I'm going to get the emails now because I said that. But it's got me wondering what in the world's going on. Dave and I had a conversation this morning and grabbing a cup of coffee about how we need to be reaching the Muslims and we need to be teaching them about Jesus Christ, because Jesus died for Islam too. He died for Muslim people too. But those two are going to be, that's going to be something that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, and I wonder how Florida allowed this to happen too. Like, did they have a choice, or was it just kind of forced on them by the federal government? Like, I can't believe Florida would allow that.
I know.
But I also see what's happened here in Texas, and honestly, when I haven't looked it up to verify, but in my mind, when I think about the mosques that I pass in my little 8-mile triangle that I drive, I think I see more mosques than I do churches.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of mosques around here.
We do.
So what's happening, I know that we've talked about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse a lot. Capitalism, Catholicism, communism, and Islamism.
Yeah.
It seems like, obviously, Islam has been on the scene for a long time. But 9/11 really shifted things. And then since, I don't know, has it been 10 years or so, things have kind of, like, we've quote-unquote forgotten 9/11.
Right.
And, now there are...
And like the majority of those terrorists on that day were from Saudi Arabia, so they say.
And now we have politicians that are Muslims, which maybe we always have. They just weren't so in the spotlight. Maybe they weren't at this high of a level. And of course, with what happened in New York, and I saw where that mayor, where he's expected to announce that all children are required to learn the Arabic alphabet. He hasn't done it yet, but they're expecting him to do that. This is official reports. It's not, people like me posting on X or anything. It's official reports that that's supposed to happen. It just seems like, okay, with what's coming in the end time, these 4 powers are going to be present, and they are going to be doing things all around the world, so we shouldn't be that surprised. But at the same time, I'm surprised. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, there's obviously things that maybe we can't see from here how it's going to turn out, but these things are concerning to us as prophecy teachers, understanding some of the things that we understand, seeing where technology is going, understanding that Saudi Arabia has just received this huge ability to control a lot of that data and have a lot of that data for this. It is concerning to think about, especially with some of the things that we understand from prophecy. And I don't see anything in prophecy that helps me understand this move or to really give me complete understanding about it, other than what we talked about with the mark of the beast technology and those things. But isn't it interesting that in Daniel, in the book of Daniel, it says that in the last days men will go to and fro gaining knowledge, and that's what's happening. This AI movement and the knowledge that's being gained through this, and the control and the I would even say lack of privacy or invasion of our privacy that's happening because of these things. Because we know, Vince, I mean, we can have a conversation right now, and 5 minutes from now that could pop up on our feed on our Facebook, so they're listening to everything we say. So this is concerning. We're moving in a direction that's leading us toward those technologies for Mark of the Beast. But, Jesus said it would happen before it happened. So it's a faith builder.
Amen. It's never been easier to understand what's going on. Now's the time to be on Only Source. Go to watch.osn.tv. Start your subscription today for free at watch.osn.tv with the free trial there. And then don't forget, this show's made available for free because of partners like you that give every single month. Go to endtime.com/give to partner with us today. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. God bless.